Here we will continue with the other features of this ARM microcontroller. So it consumes low power and high energy efficiency. So that is actually the important feature we can say. So how it consumes low power? Because it has two additional modes. One is called actually sleep mode and the another one is called a deep sleep mode. Right? So in that case, it is going to consume only minimum power during these idle periods. So when the processor doesn't have any work to do, in that case it will get into sleep mode or deep sleep mode. I think this you should be knowing in your smart TVs, right? Whenever you are using your Android TV, instead of switching off your TV, you can put it in the standby mode. So they will also mention what is the power consumed in the standby mode normally, which is going to be very, very minimum. Right, that's why we can say it. Otherwise, what will happen? Supposing if you switch off and switch on the TV every time, that smart TV, you can say that operating system should be loaded. Normally, something like booting your system, right? So your system will boot again in the operating system, so which is going to consume more time. So for temporary switching off, instead of switching off your TV, you can make your system into that sleep mode. That is normally possible, right? That is what actually here it has. So it has sleep and deep sleep mode so that the power consumption can be reduced, and it's low gate count, right? So it is an efficient architecture that is using minimum number of gates. So minimum number of gates represents minimum number of transistors that are used. So the minimum current consumption will be there, especially reverse current or due to minority carrier when it is idle, when it is not used. So all those things actually gives the minimum area and the minimum power consumption. And high code density. So again, what happens? Already we can pack high code, say for example number of code lines, right, in a piece of memory. So we can pack more code, more program code in a small piece of memory. So that is again, it is possible. And it allows processing tasks to be completed in a short time, right? So it will complete all the process within a short time at the earliest, at the fastest speed, and it will come back to a sleep mode or deep sleep mode. So by that it can reduce the power consumption. And then starting from the Cortex revision 2, there is a wake up interrupt controller. This is actually another feature that is available here. And in this case, when the system is actually powered down, right, when the process states are retained, this is something like your even this facility is actually available in your Windows also, right? We call it as an hibernate function, right? I think you should be seeing it, right? I hibernate in Windows. So what happens whenever you put it into the hibernate state, the same system, the same contents will be stored in a memory, and the system you can switch off. When you press it again, it will come back to its original state live at a faster speed. So this is also possible here. And the debugging support, again, debuggers are of course available here. The system provides so much of debugging support, something like halting and stepping, right? Halting means you can temporarily halt the program for some time so that you can analyze the contents of the register, and the stepping means you can run the program step by step, one instruction per one execution, right? So that you can easily trace out how the variables in the registers are changing, right? So that you can easily understand the flow of your program. That is again possible, and there are some breakpoints. For every 10 instructions you can give a breakpoint so that the system will stop at that point and you can analyze the register contents. Then watch points are there. So whenever this register has this value, then watch that value. So there may be some watch points, and all those facilities are available to provide a good debugging support for your ARM processor, right? And then there is a joint test action group. There is a JTAG interface. Normally it is going to be a USB interface only, right? Normal USB interface only, and through which we can read some additional data also that will be useful for debugging support, right? That is also provided. And for debugging these things, there are some special ports which is called a debug access port is also available there. Fine. And then the control of this DAP bus interface is carried out by the debug port, right? So there is a DAP bus and which will be controlled by the debug port. So there are some specific extra features are available for debugging also, right? And these chip manufacturers can use either this core site. This is actually a specific product, right, that is available exclusively for debugging. So either they can use it or they can use the DP models to provide the debug interface, right? And there is other chip manufacturers can also include a embedded trace macro cell to allow the instruction trace. That is also possible, right? So there are many techniques are available, because writing a program is very difficult, and debugging a program, especially debugging a software or hardware, is again it's going to be very difficult unless or otherwise you have a good debugging mechanism. And within the Cortex-M3 processor, a number of events can be used to trigger debug actions, right? Say for example, there are some breakpoints, watch points, fault conditions, or external debugging requests. So all these things are also available, which will help us to debug the program. And in addition to these basic debugging features, the Cortex-M3 processor also provides a flash patch and breakpoint unit that can provide a simple breakpoint function or remap an instruction access from flash to a different location in the SRAM. And an instrumentation trace macro cell, which is called ITM, provides a new way for developers to output data to a debugger. So there are some macro sets, right? So there will be some internal registers. Normally these registers will not be accessed from the external world. But if you want to debug, you should be able to identify what is the content of that particular register when the program is getting executed. So for that purpose, there are going to be some extra added registers, right, through which I can read out the data available in the actual register so that I can find out how the program is getting executed. So that particular function is called as the instruction trace macro cell. Right, so this is useful for developing a data to the debugger. It will bring out one particular internal register data which is normally not accessible to the debugger, to the outside world. That is also possible, right? And this particular method is easy to use, and it will be faster than your normal JTAG output. And all these debugging components are controlled via the DAP interface, right? And there's a specific bus already we discussed, and by a program running on the processor core, and all trace information is accessible from the TPIU. And what are the characteristic summary of this processor? The Cortex-M3 processor delivers high performance in microcontroller products, many instructions in a single cycle, within a single cycle. What is actually a cycle? It's the number of T states that are available, right? Most probably when you want to move a data or when you want to write a data, it may take some 4 to 5 clock cycles, 4 to 5 T states we call it. So that is actually the normal case. But here many instructions are single cycle. So within a single clock, these instructions can be executed. And there is separate data and instruction bus, again, which will speed up the process. No state switching because thumb to instruction. So there is no switching between ARM and thumb instruction set. And the thumb 2 instruction provides an extra flexibility in programming. So the programming will be comparably easy because you are going to use only thumb 2, right? And the instruction fetches are 32 bits. So you can fetch the instructions in 32 bits, and the operating clock frequency is above 100 megahertz. And the advanced interrupts, already we discussed, there are 240 external interrupts are available with a nested vectored interrupt controller, right? So we can have an advanced set of interrupts are available here. Reduced latency because already there are vectored inputs, right? And interrupt arrangement is extremely flexible. So some overall idea whatever things we have discussed, right? And some of the multi-cycle operations are now interruptible. Say for example, one particular instruction which takes some 5 T states, right? 5 clock cycles. At the third clock cycle, I can give an interrupt, right? So this is actually a multi-cycle operation, right? You are writing a data, and when the data is being written, maybe at the third clock cycle, I can give an interrupt and I can do some other process, but the original process or the original task will not get disturbed. That is, again, this is possible in the case of this. And immediate execution of this NMI handler is guaranteed, right? So whenever there is a non-maskable interrupt is there, immediately that will be executed without any delay. That is also possible here. Low power consumption, already we have seen this enough. Sleeping and deep sleep modes are there. And there will be some gated clocks, right? So whenever some section is not used, then the clock will not be given to that particular section, right? So whenever there is a clock is running, all the transistors, what is actually a clock? It's a positive and negative movements of the signal, right? So whenever there is a positive edge and negative edge, the registers will be toggling, right? Because the registers will be provided with the clock. So even though there is no data, the clocks will be continuously toggling, which is going to consume more power. So in that case, by providing a gated by providing a gated clock, I can control the clock. So when some sections are not used in the chip, so I will not allow the gate clock to pass through that particular portion, so that I can reduce the overall power consumption. And with the shadowed stack pointer, stack memory and kernel and user process can be isolated. So by using this stack memory pointer and all those things. And with the optional MPU, right, the memory protection unit, the processor is more than sufficient to develop robust software and reliable products. And the debug support, of course, it supports both the JTAG and the serial wire debug interfaces, right? So two things we have seen using the DAP. And the core side debugging solution is also there, which is actually an add-on which is useful for enhancing the debugging solution. And the built-in support for 6 breakpoints and 4 watch points. And the optional ETM for the instruction trace and data trace using this DWT. And the new debugging features are also there. And the PC sampler and the counters inside this DWT provide coding profiling information, right? So there will be a PC will be connected to that, so that debugging will be comparably easier with that.